Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe. Who should be the next Paul Heyman guy or gal? I'm Ollie Davis, this is Luke Owen, welcome to WrestleRamble, and this comes from a mixture of news reports and fan questions this week, because there was a report from The Wrap, which is not a dirt sheet, it's not a wrestling media source, it's a respected film...
Was once a respected
film media trade magazine,
yes,
or place like that, and they're reporting that Paul Heyman has just signed a deal with a studio to start pitching his own TV show,
unscripted TV shows.
I've pulled a few quotes actually.
Oh, lovely stuff.
So because it is quite ridiculous. So this is with a guy called Roy Bank and Roy Bank Studios.
This third quote in particular, this is the one I was reading this morning, which is like, it's such a Paul Heyman thing to say.
It's very noughties. Like, it doesn't feel very teens, which we're in right now, of course. Yeah, this is with Roy Bank of Roy Bank Studios, who is a producer behind The Apprentice. I mean, imagine Paul Heyman in that sort of apprentice
doing
role.
The apprentice role. Well, yeah. I mean, they need a new host for it, really, don't they? Because Schwarzenegger didn't do as well as they'd hoped.
And are you smarter than a fifth grader? So, it's been described as the show will straddle the line between talk, opinion, comedy, and pop culture, all with the one-of-a-kind Paul Heyman brand and energy as the driving force.
Yeah, because I think if I was reading a quote, Paul Heyman didn't want to be like the star of the show, but he was sort of talked into it by this Roy Bank chap.
Talked into it. You never know with Heyman.
But Heyman is now, he's going to be the star of this show, essentially. And it is going to be this unscripted format. It sounds really interesting, but the quote that really struck me was, if you don't mind, I'll quickly read now. This is a Heyman quote. "It's a pretty radical concept, created by people with ADD, for people with ADD, to be enjoyed by people who would subscribe to a theology of ADD. It's a Paul Heyman quote and a half, that one there.
Yeah, repetition. You've got something repeated. He's such a master orator.
Yes.
And it's like these tricks of what do you call it when you argue with someone? It's not debating, it's something else. It's the structure of arguments. I can't remember it, but it's so ingrained within him, those rules, that he just speaks in platitude. It's incredible.
He is good.
But yet it is also, I mean, is ADD a thing anymore? I thought it was absorbed into the wider autism spectrum.
I don't know, to be honest. I don't know enough about the subject to be an authoritative figure.
Neither do I. I probably shouldn't even have said anything.
You shouldn't have brought that up, man, because that's what the comments will be talking about today.
It's I don't know if it's international or just National Autism Week.
Oh, yeah, it's a good point. Channel 4 have got a really interesting documentary up, I think, on this week about being on the spectrum. And there's a documentary on Netflix about suppressing these sorts of things as well, suppressing ADD. I think it's called Take Your Pills or something. I haven't watched it yet, but apparently it's quite good. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm sure Paul Heyman deals with it really sensitively.
Well, I don't know, like...
He's all about, I'm PC.
Because, like, when he said, it's a pretty radical concept, created by people with ADD, for people with ADD, to be sure, all this sort of stuff. Do you know what it reminded me of? The way that MTV used to film interviews and stuff in the 90s.
Cutting between unnecessary shots from...
Absolutely, yeah. Like, stuff in the 90s where it was like you had 20 cameras around one person. Some of them would be handheld and be filmed in black and white with grain put over it, with a few frames missing.
Yeah.
Like, almost like an NWO promo package. And that almost feels this is what Paul Heyman's going to be doing with his little new series.
Emojis.
Well, I mean,
words on the screen as Paul Heyman talks. He hasn't got it yet. Now we can have a whole show like it.
I know, but is that a pretty radical concept? Because WWE are doing it now. Like, with WWE doing
more,
it's practically the norm.
They don't do it with boob emojis and poo emojis with the smiley face.
The aubergine, which I recently learned is a knob one.
You only learned that recently?
Yeah, my wife told me that was it's an emoji. Well, an emoji as a way to say knobs, I think.
Yes,
and the peaches to use bums.
There's another one for the lady part.
Is there really?
It's a taco. Aubergine taco.
Oh my God,
that's what we make in our household. There's
very
I can't look at an aubergine now without thinking this is old news, man. This is 2016 emoji chat.
I don't really use emojis. Like I didn't know my phone had emojis until I when I started working for you, because I now just send you the devil horn emoji whenever.
Oh, I thought it was a too sweet.
Well, we can't do that anymore. Cease and desist, mates.
Sorry,
So I just do it as a devil horn. But you basically say, "Here's the work I need you to do today," and I just send that back as like a, "Got it, boss."
WWE never went after the emojis for doing the too sweet.
It's not really
Poor
too
old
sweet
young
because it's
bucks.
got the thumb is in front of the two fingers.
The fingers were pressed together.
No.
There's another.
Too sweet is not that much into pop culture that it's invaded emojis.
I am genuinely intrigued about what this show is going to be, though.
Back on topic.
The quote you mentioned earlier about Paul Heyman's objected to this being about him at all or being a feature. Here's the actual quote. I pulled that as well because it is very funny. So this is Paul Heyman. Against my should I do it as Paul Heyman? Against my strenuous objection. I'm not even going to bother.
I was going to say that was just an Ollie Davis voice, slightly
Roy Bank has decided our first collaborative project will be centered around me. I have come to the educated conclusion Roy has made this decision based on a desire when pitching from the networks that we learn how to deal with rejection. So it's a very lovely self-depreciating thing, but anyway, this is a lot of preamble to get to the fact that also in this Rap article that reported this, and with the reports from Heyman, it said that Paul Heyman's contract expires at WrestleMania 34, just like Brock Lesnar's. So, even the article itself points out this could be Heyman setting up some post-WWE work to transition into. By all accounts, he's going to be going round with Roy Bank to pitch this new show to streaming services and traditional TV channels, because, my God, what a good pitch man that would be. Imagine having Paul Heyman with a whiteboard.
Yeah, I mean, Paul Heyman, I think I said this before in a video, but my favourite comment about him is he could sell a bacon sandwich to a vegan Jew.
Yes.
He's that good. He's so great at what he does.
So he's got that, or he could re-sign with WWE, do this on the side, and be paired with a new WWE wrestler if Brock leaves, which seems to be the case going to UFC.
Yeah, Meltzer said that in The Observer today, saying that he could possibly re-up, and there have been some talks about where he could go and who he might be partnered with.
And this ties in with an email we got from Brendan, or a Patreon
message
from Brendan McCarthy. Of course, if you want to ask questions, everyone on Patreon, no matter what tier you donate, can ask questions. So go over to WrestleTalk's Patreon page to check out all the rewards. Brendan McCarthy writes, if Brock loses and goes to UFC, should WWE try and retain Heyman? Yes. Who could immediately come out on SmackDown with a now champion / heel Shinsuke Nakamura. Heyman, without missing a beat, uses his usual "my name is Paul Heyman," so on and so on, but this time introducing Nakamura. Nakamura, a cocky, arrogant, swaying champion who no longer needs to cut poor promos and just keep it simple with a "I'm gonna knee you in your face" line. Address Brock going on Raw the night after WrestleMania, keeping Heyman off as well. Heyman appears on SmackDown next night saying yada, elevates Nakamura as the champion and keeps Heyman busy and at the top of the card. Obviously, all ifs and buts. What do you think of that?
I really like that, and do you know what it reminds me of? It all of a sudden, Wrestle Kingdom 10 all came flooding back to me. Do you remember the promo package they had for Styles and Nakamura there, where it's just Styles on these lavish sofas in his really fancy outfits and all that sort of stuff. I'm like, that's the Nakamura that we could really see, and him as this kind of cocky, arrogant heel champion who's just like, yeah, I mean, of course I'm the best. That's kind of like why I've liked his persona in this build up to WrestleMania, where it's just like, I mean, of course I'm going to win at WrestleMania. Look at me, I'm Shinsuke Nakamura. I'm going to beat you at WrestleMania, knee to face. And I think that could be a really nice little character piece for him. Having said that, I also said I wanted that for Asuka as well. And you can't have both of them doing the same shtick, I suppose, unless, of course, Asuka was also a Heyman girl and Nakamura was a Heyman guy.
And Paul Heyman turned Japanese. I think he's really turning Japanese. I really think so.
Yeah, exactly. So perhaps you could do it like this, a little sort of faction stable thing. Because Asuka presumably will be moving across to SmackDown should she win the SmackDown Live Women's Championship from Charlotte, which is one of the reported stories, because she's going to remain undefeated until WrestleMania 35, where she'll face Ronda Rousey.
I do like it because I like the idea of Heyman being with anyone that I like, particularly like Nakamura is limited in these English language promos, although I think they've struck the balance really well in recent weeks, so Heyman can only add to that package. However, I don't like the mentality that, and this seems to be a recent thing, if a wrestler is cocky or arrogant, that makes them a heel. Who's the best? Rock. He's the cockiest, most arrogant person ever. Super babyface when he was a wrestler. I really like this babyface badass presentation of Nakamura that they've done, particularly in the last week with that the angle with AJ Styles. I want him like that. I want him as a babyface, but a cool three-dimensional babyface with heelish elements. But he's always, the underpinning values are always kind of good, or you just cheer for him because he's cool and he doesn't do bad stuff or cheat.
Well, I was going to say, the character I've just described there doesn't have to be an out-and-out heel, cheating to win and all that sort of stuff. He can still be the Nakamura wanting to win of his own accord because he thinks that he is the best. Well, he knows that he's the best and doesn't have to cheat to win and all that stuff. Not like that traditional heel. He could basically be the same character, but just be more of this sort of like cocky and arrogant thing about him. Doesn't necessarily make him a heel, just makes him cocky and arrogant.
If you have that and then add Paul Heyman, I think it's hard to
people will
not
automatically
make it,
think, yeah.
So I wouldn't put Heyman with Nakamura. I think he's going to be fine if WWE continue the presentation they've done with him in recent weeks. I like Asuka. I like the Asuka idea as well. But likewise, she's been pretty damn good in recent weeks. I can't see. It's like, as great as Paul Heyman and CM Punk were. The Punk that they would. They never brought. It was never more than the sum of its parts. It was the sum of its parts. It was just two really awesome people together, but it wasn't elevated beyond that. Of course, it didn't work with Cesaro. With Brock Lesnar, it's amazing. So I think, obviously, the best thing to do with Paul Heyman is the Roman Reigns heel turn at WrestleMania 34.
Obviously.
Paul Heyman betrays Lesnar and sides with Reigns. That's the best thing for me.
I don't know if that is the best thing, though. Because, I think you have the exact same issue there that you have with Nakamura. I don't know, man. I wonder if it's because this is very much an internal thing for me. I know it's sort of a personal thing. Because Reigns has never had a manager before, I keep looking at him and does he need a manager? Does he need...
Babyface Reigns has never had a manager.
Well, maybe, yeah. I mean, because what I really liked about your fantasy booking, which I know is what you're alluding to, why your fantasy booking worked is because it was a stable, because it was a faction with, Reigns almost as the top guy within that faction. That really works. Heyman and Reigns on its own, I don't overly buy into, but Reigns with the Usos and some other people, that I really like. I think that could really work. A person I would really like if you were going to do an NXT call-up would be Shayna Baszler.
I thought about that, but I think it's... I don't think you want Baszler up now. Because of all the Ronda Rousey stuff.
Oh, you don't want to overshadow Ronda.
It'll be too similar. Be a bit Absolution, Riot Squad. You know what I'm saying?
Also, I think it's almost slightly lazy in a way in WWE's part to be Lesnar's gone, so we'll just put Heyman with another UFC person or another mixed martial arts person.
Which is why I don't really like the Ronda Rousey idea. I don't feel like she needs the Paul. She doesn't need Paul Heyman either, in my head. Although it would be great for her not to talk, I don't think she has to talk. She can just be mean and doesn't need a manager or a mouthpiece.
Or just do those sit-down interviews like she did last week, where she can just be herself and be so much more natural with it.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you just had
I've written down a few here.
You've written down a few, but there was one right at the end that I quite like. The one that that's why I was drawn to, which is making him SmackDown GM.
Yeah, that's my favourite one other than the Roman Reigns heel turn.
Because if we can't find someone that he's good as a manager for, because every person we've suggested so far, but will this work? But not sure about this. Him as SmackDown GM, he's got prior. He was SmackDown GM previously. he gets to be on TV, he gets to just make matches, he gets to do backstage stuff, and then be really good. And as you've written here, a great foil to Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
Because I'm presuming post-WrestleMania, as we discussed on Wednesday's show, Daniel Bryan stepping down as SmackDown GM and being a full-time wrestler again, as full-time as Randy Orton can be, I suppose. You would, he could then slot into that top babyface slot and then have the heel authority figure trying to keep him down. It's typical, I suppose, because it's basically what they did with the authority. But Heyman's so good, and Daniel Bryan is so great, I think that could really work.
The idea of Heyman back on SmackDown just makes me, it feels right, doesn't it? Like, of course he would. He wouldn't be able to pay off on any of those matches with Bryan, so he would need a cipher. So it's like, who is that top heel on SmackDown going to be that Paul Heyman favours over the Bryan side of things?
Who will be the top heels on? Because
I've written a Bobby Lashley return.
Yeah,
I mean, that kind of fits, but that's that MMA thing again. Lashley's not a great talker, so that fits. But I don't know, there's just no one really... I don't know if I want to see Paul Heyman as anyone's advocate.
Or, heel Nakamura. Heel Nakamura. Mate.
Heel Reigns, yes. But Braun Strowman and Dean Ambrose I've written down. And Samoa Joe, but those people, they don't need it.
Exactly. We've just sort of listed people that don't really need a Paul Heyman. Whereas that's why I think like the SmackDown general manager role might be a really good slot for him.
Elsewhere in the news of the week, do you want to talk to us about some NXT stuff?
Well, NXT...
Because you are the NXT man.
Yeah,
you love it.
I do love NXT. It's such a great our weekly show.
You and Triple H, you need that hoodie that he had, Mark.
It's a quality hour of TV. Like my two favourite shows to watch for a week are NXT and Ring of Honor. They're just an hour long each, and they're just so easy to watch and so enjoyable to watch as well. Love it as a show.
Mine's Queer Eye for a Straight Guy.
Yeah,
love that show right now. I've learned a particular. It's given me actionable advice. Did I tell you about this?
No, you have not.
I think I was telling somebody else. So
talking to other people.
Aftershave. Before I would. On the and then one on the wrist.
On the wrist, yeah.
And then buff them together and buff them together here. The smell on those like heat points wafts. But apparently that can be too much. So the Queer Eye's advice for this was you spray. So you spray in front of you in the air. Delay. Walk away. And the walk away is you walk through the scent and it goes over all of you.
Okay, I would say, applauds for the rhyming, but walk away suggests to me that you do this and then walk in the opposite direction. No. Spray, walk away.
Yeah, it is you walk through and away.
But that doesn't rhyme.
You're going to ruin the cadence of the little haiku here. So, spray, delay, walk away. I also know...
Walk through. Walk her through.
You're ruining my queer stuff. And every guy needs 3 pairs of jeans.
Oh, that's balderdash.
You need a black pair.
Nope.
You need a dark blue pair.
I have those.
And then you need a light blue pair.
I don't buy into the black pair. I have 2 pairs of jeans.
I'm wearing a black pair right now.
Yeah, that's fine. It suits you. Okay. Suits you, sir. But I own 2 pairs of jeans, and I think that's more than enough. Because the rest... and I only have to wear those for 3 months of the year, because the rest of the time it's short to clock.
You love shorts.
I love wearing shorts.
So, NXT.
Sorry, back to NXT. So NXT have last night's show, last night of this recording, we're recording this on a Thursday, have revealed that they're going to be holding a ladder match at NXT TakeOver New Orleans for the new NXT North American Championship. And that match is going to feature Adam Cole pulling double duty, because he's also in the tag team match with Kyle O'Reilly, because Bobby Fish is injured, versus the winners of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. So it's Adam Cole, Velveteen Dream, Killian Dane, Lars Sullivan.
Just seeing if you can do all these.
Ricochet, and EC3. Trouble. So 6 really big names in there. That's 2 debuts. Oh, I put up in the news today WWE.com's like verbiage that they've done to announce this, like the history-making match that it's going to be.
Yeah.
With two groundbreaking newcomers vying to win this. I was like, no one talks like this. But So you got two newcomers in there, two people making their NXT debuts in EC3 and Ricochet.
Really exciting. With their old names, I suppose.
Yes, absolutely, yeah. And you've got Killian Dane, who is getting a quite big singles run at the moment. He had a great match with Aleister Black on TV a couple of weeks ago, or a few weeks ago by this point. Lars Sullivan, who like the company really, really like. They've given him that cool new introduction where he's like just cast a shadow over NXT. And you got Adam Cole in there. Bebe. And, who am I missing? And the Velveteen Dream, who obviously had that amazing match with Aleister Black last year at NXT TakeOver War Games. So 6 really cool names in there. I think it will be an excellent match. Yeah. I would put... I mean, this is hardly the hottest of hot takes, but I would put money down. This will be a good match. And it will be very fun to watch.
WWE have got like a few really mouth-watering things scheduled for WrestleMania weekend. You've got that. You've got the three-way tag match on SmackDown, which I'm really looking forward to.
Gargano Ciampa.
Unsanctioned street fight.
If their match is half as good as their Cruiserweight Classic first round match, it could possibly steal the weekend. I think it's going to be an absolute barn burner. Aleister Black versus Sienna Almas is going to be... Oh, that's a mouth-watering match right there. And then, as you say, the SmackDown Tag Team Championship match on WrestleMania, that three-way is going to be awesome. AJ Nakamura, the intrigue of Rousey in her tag match. There's so much stuff over WrestleMania. I was looking at the card today and I was like, it's a stacked WrestleMania card. And we haven't even mentioned the in-ring return of Daniel Bryan.
Undertaker.
The Undertaker versus John Cena. Like, I know I got a lot of flack yesterday for the Raw vs. SmackDown review for being quote-unquote too negative. But I can't stress enough how excited I am for this year's WrestleMania.
Usually it's around now where I start to think, oh God, WrestleMania. It's going to be so long. I hate long wrestling shows. I hate long anything. But I'm actually really excited. Yeah, I'm genuinely excited for that WrestleMania card and watching it all the way through. However, you look at the WrestleMania card, there's 14 matches there, and it is a bit, okay, there is 14 matches there. I'm really looking forward to these 7 matches, you might say. And you're like, oh wow, a 7-match card that I'm really looking forward to. That's got to be one of the best shows of the year, right? Oh, but there's actually another 7 that I'm not as much looking forward to. Whereas NXT TakeOver, it's like just 5 matches,
and they're always
each one I really can't wait for.
But there's other matches, like you said, there's 7 matches that you're not as. I think the 3-way for the IC belts. I said at the during our Elimination Chamber review that because those 3 started off the match. I was like, if this is any indication of what we're going to get at WrestleMania, that's going to be a really good match. And I'm also really looking forward to Cedric Alexander versus Mustafa Ali. Like, the audience won't care, but I think that it could be. I think it could really be a lot better than Neville Aries was last year. I think it could be a really an underlying, no one really knows it. Oh, actually, turned out this match was awesome.
I like the 3 modes of Luke. You've got a WWE shill,
which is what I'm currently in at the moment. Yeah,
you've got a Smark who hates everything in wrestling, which you were.
I didn't hate everything. I didn't hate everything.
And then you've got the middle bit. It was fine.
It was fine.
Like,
I don't think I was that negative on yesterday's show.
I'm kidding. There's loads of shades of Luke.
There's just
50 shades of Luke.
50 shades of Luke. So yeah, that's sort of NXT stuff. EC3 made his debut on the show. Came out in front of the crowd. Obviously, if you don't count him sitting in the crowd for that other NXT show. And yeah, he basically came out and was just like, why don't you just give me the title?
What a way to debut. What an EC3 way to debut.
I'm so glad that Bobby Roode isn't there now. Because if Bobby Roode and EC3 were on the same show, it's like, oh, we're the same character.
Yeah. Although EC3's he's just got a naturally more comedic face, the way you can animate it more. Whereas Bobby Roode's always, or with the gloriousness.
Oh man, we need a heel turn for Bobby Roode soon, man.
I indulged this morning in a bit of not ultimate deletion. What was it called? It was the final deletion. Yeah, the final deletion parody. Do you remember?
Oh yeah, the EC3 didn't I? The hotel room and stuff. Yeah.
Spud, Brodus Clay, and Eli Drake.
Yes.
And man, if you haven't seen it, go and watch it because EC3 is just chewing this hotel room and lobby up with his acting. It's so funny.
Yeah, it's great.
And Eli Drake's
forgotten about that.
Exasperated. What? Face is just the perfect foil to it. But yeah, North American Championship.
How do you feel of it as a name?
I like it because it kind of harkens back to the old territory days. I definitely think that's in the design, and Triple H probably thought that. But it's just like, what does NXT need? It was the more pertinent
that was the question, because everyone was like, well, they got the United Kingdom Championship that could have just filled that role. Now essentially you got 2 mid-card titles on NXT,
and it's like, what are the rules? What are the rules? What are the rules? It's a reference Luke doesn't get because he doesn't watch Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
No, that is a show I have not watched.
It's a great show.
So I've heard.
And
my wife really liked it.
Yeah. So you've got like, is it only North American people who can fight for it? I mean, is everyone? To go through those names again. Yeah, so Killian Dane is Scottish. He's Big Damo.
Yeah.
So no.
He's from Belfast.
From Belfast, sorry.
Oh,
God. I'm going to get crucified. So, back to WrestleMania weekend and how much we're all looking forward to it. Do you want to hear some possible surprises?
Well, I was going to say, I'd just seen this here.
Surprises.
We're recording this before I've seen your news episodes for the Thursday. So this is a surprise for me. And quite the surprise it is. Why don't you tell the good viewers what this surprise might be? I mean, it's 2 days after you've done the news, so they would probably already know. Yeah.
This is just sort of the colour commentary to that news piece. So Sports Illustrated are reporting this, and I've written in my notes there,
Dodgy source
now, because they are the same people who said that Undertaker match is off.
Oh,
John Cena has asked for Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania, and they're going to go with that.
It's so funny. I was telling you about this, that so Cena challenged The Undertaker, and as soon as he did that, a lot of people were just like, oh, and Cena's like, but that match isn't going to happen. That match can't happen. And then Dave Meltzer reported, like, well, yeah, they said that because they want to throw people off the scent. They wanted people to think that it won't happen until we get past Fastlane, and then we can start moving towards that match. And then a lot of people in the Wrestling Observer boards were just like, yeah, but who's going to buy into it? Like, he said the match now, everyone's just going to know that match is happening. The very next day, Justin Barrasso reported, oh yeah, because that Undertaker match isn't happening now, it's going to be Rey Mysterio.
So I think...
So one person believed it.
Barrasso definitely has his WWE sources, because he's broken too much stuff that turned out to be true.
100%.
But, it's a fascinating world, wrestling journalism, which, I would call us news entertainers, because it's not like we scour the internet and try and make sense of all this news from different websites and people. And so we're quite detached, and we can see like the little infighting and, Ryan Satin's and Dave Meltzer's and
Brad Shepard's.
And the way they're all trying to jockey for position. And I assume a very limited pool of sources in the major companies where they get these stories from. And, you've got to think, so each of these journalists is going to... The Mike Johnson, these big name I omitted, they're all going to have their own agendas, because they've got their sources that they need to protect, or like, I'll do you a favour for this. But the sources, they've got their own agendas too. So, and JBL mentioned this in regards to Dave Meltzer recently, and Bruce Pritchard.
Pritchard went on,
that, those sources could just be feeding you stuff that was leaked to them intentionally by the office to throw off fans like us and these reports. And this, to me, screams it.
Yeah.
Like, we said, it's going to be The Undertaker, surely. And then that Sports Illustrated thing comes out, and you see, multiple sources have confirmed John Cena is going to face Rey Mysterio, and did not come to light. And this is the latest in a few stories that have gone that way for Sports Illustrated.
Yeah, I feel bad for Barrasso, really. It almost feels like he really is being played, because he has got that big name behind him of Sports Illustrated. Because Sports Illustrated that's a mainstream publication, as opposed to the Wrestling Observer, which is just appealing to dorks like us and the dorks that watch this show.
Affectionately.
Affectionately. So, like, that's a really niche market. Sports Illustrated, on the other hand, they cover the NFL. They cover actual sports. So, like,
they have sexy covers.
They do like swimsuit editions and all that sort of gubbins. So it really does feel that, like, they're almost intentionally picking on Barrasso by giving him duff information.
Yeah, because it's going to have the most
the
widespread.
Exactly, yeah. Which is kind of genius, really.
Yeah. So we are just speculating that's the case. Rey Mysterio could still face John Cena.
It might happen.
Undertaker hasn't come out yet.
No, maybe on Monday he'll go like, Undertaker, do something, and then the lights will go out.
Booyaka.
And then he'll jump out the stage, and everyone will go like, Oh, it is Rey. Oh, okay.
It's the Royal Rumble again. 2014 was that.
Yeah.
So this is a lot of preamble and big qualification disclaimer before we say that Sports Illustrated, again with the Mysterio, and spoilers, maybe, that Braun Strowman's tag team partner is going to be revealed at WrestleMania as being Rey Mysterio.
I'm going to put money on the line. No, I'm not going to put money on the line because I don't know this for a fact. But it almost feels that Barrasso sources Conan.
Yeah, could they just all... There's a theme to all of it.
That's what
Rey
I mean.
Mysterio. Rey Mysterio.
That's what I mean. His source is either Rey Mysterio or Conan.
Yeah.
He's just giving him duff information.
Or Michael Hayes. So
Hey, I know a little source for you.
So this is interesting because Mysterio was meant to appear at Strong Style Evolved. He was meant to wrestle, Jushin Thunder Liger last Sunday for New Japan, but he didn't because he's got a bicep tear, which is going to be healed relatively quickly, which is why WrestleMania could happen. But Mysterio appeared at the show, said he was sorry that he couldn't wrestle, but he promises he will wrestle in New Japan as soon as he can. And then he ran an angle after the match between his replacement Will Ospreay and Liger, saying, sort of setting up a potential match with Ospreay, with Liger, and even Marty Scurll, who ripped off Mysterio's mask and posed with it on his head, even though his head is way too big for Rey Mysterio's mask, so it was kind of only on his forehead.
Love all that.
So Rey Mysterio kind of has like this trilogy of matches that he said he's going to work soon, and he's also become a named investor in Aero Lucha, which is another wrestling promotion which is trying to launch in the next couple of months.
It should be filmed. They're filming in May and June, I believe.
So Sports Illustrated did say if Rey comes back, it's expected to be a short-term deal, and that holds water because he'd presumably do the New Japan, the Aero Lucha stuff, and they also say to take the pin. Potentially.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Which I don't know if you want to do that. Yeah, you got to have Braun and Rey go over, really. But that would make him a tag team champion.
Yeah. If
this is true,
I say of all the names that have been kind of bounded around for Braun, Rey's the one I believe I can buy into the least. Elias I can buy into. Big Cass, Big Show I can buy into because they are also tall. That I can buy into. Even Joe, I can buy into. But Reg is not one that I can. Of all the names I've seen, that's the one I'm like, nah, I don't see that one.
Be a WrestleMania moment, though.
But
and there have been reported negotiations between him and Triple
absolutely.
H.
And I think
those
are more or less confirmed negotiations as well. But it's
Conan texts me.
But I don't think it's. I think if Reg is doing something at WrestleMania, it's not this. He's in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. He'll be one of those surprise entrants into the Battle Royal. Like
another name, which is Rock the Dwayne Johnson.
Good old Rock the Dwayne Johnson.
This is a crazy story. Odds Checker, suddenly, their betting odds for The Rock to just appear at WrestleMania, not to wrestle a match, has gone to 99% certain.
Wow. That is
out of nowhere.
That is a heck of a thing. I mean, he has got a movie to promote.
Well, yeah, Rampage comes out 4 days afterwards.
Yeah, the following week,
Yeah. So you've
seen the posters for Rampage.
It is crazy. So you've got Rock looking very naturally large at the front of the poster, and then you've got the ape behind him. Then you've got a giant wolf thing behind that, and behind that there's some kind of
alligator monster,
fierce alligator monster. Yeah.
I've got a bit of a stake in all of this because it's kind of I've got a book about it. So I was excited for Rampage regardless. At least I didn't have the book here to be like, oh, by the way, I've got my book
Seamless.
So I already have kind of a stake in the ground to be like, I'm excited for Rampage. But these latest posters have made me go man, I want to see this film.
Oh, right. I didn't know which way you were going to go there.
The trailers have done a little for me. But I see those trailers and I'm like, it's a giant monster movie starring The Rock. Of course I'm in. I'm so down for this.
I rewatched the trailer this morning. It was a lot better than I remember. Rock's got great comedic timing. Looks like it's quite comedy heavy, which it has to be.
I was going to say
it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I got someone said this it's just another Hollywood ruining a video game, taking itself too serious. And I was like, if anything, this film is not taking itself seriously.
Yeah, the opening gag in the trailer I watched is a guy peeing himself.
Yeah, you
and
go.
everyone's like, ha ha ha, and the ape played a joke on him.
See,
I'm
the humor. As long as it doesn't take itself like too comedic, I just don't want it to take itself too seriously. I think that you've got to strike that right balance, almost like San Andreas, 'cause it's the same writers and director and star, which was a film that was mad, but also didn't take itself too seriously.
Well, that's all we've got time for today, so please click the videos that have just appeared over.
I'm going to stop you there because I thought you were going to do another segment.
But we've run out of time.
But I've got you something.
Oh, what? Oh, damn it. Should have seen this coming.
Happy birthday, man. I apologise for the wrapping
Is
paper.
it your book?
My book is much thicker than that.
Yeah.
So, before you open this, I bought this present. I've had a lot on my mind recently because it's my wife's 30th birthday, so I've been doing a lot of planning for that. So I bought this thinking, like, this should be quite good. Then it arrived in the post, and I've just lost all faith in it.
Oh,
and I've completely lost faith in this as a gift.
Well, it is a book.
But it is something that I think that you can get some benefit out of. Because I know it's something that you do partake in most on a daily basis. And I'm hoping that it should help you in your quest to help with your your fasting thing that you do, like your 24-hour fasting. So I'm hoping, because I know you... if you don't like it, I'm cutting this bit out of the video. But
I'm sure I will like it. Well, I'll have to. You're right here. Just for podcast listeners, this is it's like a sort of a notebook-sized floppy square with Christmas pudding wrapping paper.
Yeah, it's floppier than I was expecting. That's what she said.
I'm wearing one of my birthday presents from my lady partner.
Oh yeah,
it's some nice cat socks.
Oh, cat socks!
If you can see that,
lovely stuff.
They're
very nice.
I walked in to Happy Birthday in balloons this morning.
I saw the picture. It was lovely.
My mum. So I got you get the messages on the family thread, their family WhatsApp thread.
Just that I haven't been invited to, by the way.
Yeah. Well, that would be strange. And, my nickname in my family is Chappie.
Aww,
Chappie.
That's cute.
So my sister's like, happy birthday, Ollie, because she doesn't partake in that. She's pretty cool. My dad says, happy birthday, Chappie. And my mum goes, happy birthday, Crappy. Hope you have a great day. Cheers, Mum.
I love your mum.
Yeah. You want to see that she sent so many emojis after it?
Oh.
I'm just going to get up the message. Look.
Oh,
happy birthday, Crappy. Have a wonderful day. Sorry, not awake properly. I meant Chappie.
Then, like, about 100 kisses.
Yeah. And I say, it's taken you 30 years, Mum. Finally, let me know how you feel. So, okay, let's
open this book. I'm a bit, as I said, I'm a bit
open.
worried about this. Honestly, if you think it's pants, just say it's pants, because I appreciate that it is actually a bit pants.
Well, I imagine it's going to be some form of, wrestling. Ooh, oh, okay. Oh, a smoothie. A smoothie.
Yes, that's right. Because
that's pretty handy.
Well, that's right, because there's loads of stuff in there, and you have, loads of you drink them on a daily basis as a way to kind of replace meals and stuff. So I thought I'd buy you something and I know you're not a man who likes possessions. So this is small.
That's useful.
It's floppy and it's useful.
Well, I like practical possessions. So yes. Oh, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Good.
Oh, thank God for that.
Ah, cheers.
I was worried. It arrived yesterday, and I picked it up and I was like, oh no. I got back from
tasty looking things in here.
I got back from D&D and I opened up and I was like, oh dear, I think I made a terrible error, but it's too late now.
God, that's who we are. You get back from D&D and your smoothie present for your friend. I used to have a personal trainer who was Polish, and his command of the English language was excellent, apart from one word that he used so often, and it was smoothie, but it came out as smoothie.
Oh, nice.
He's like, have you been trying your smoothies? So I always think smoothie.
Lovely.
I see smoothies. Well, thank you very much for that. But that now is all we've got time for in today's episode. Please click the videos that have just appeared on our laps to catch up with the latest Ramble or WrestleTalk news. Of course, subscribe to this here channel on YouTube and the podcast version. Give that a try. I've been Luke Owen. You've been Ollie Davis. That was Rambling.